Welcome to this training, and we are going to be talking about clarity with mutual understanding. How we make sure when we communicate that everyone is on the same page when we are done with that communication. Let's jump right in. See, the burden of clarity is always on the communicator. That is the person that is committed to the mutual understanding. They're the one that is committed to make sure that everyone understands what has been communicated. Mutual understanding, see, it is critical in the communication process because it ensures that both the communicator and the recipient are on the same page. Mutual understanding means that the recipient both understands the information and the intent of the communicator, and the communicator understands how that information was received. See, there are several aspects to clear communication that leads to mutual understanding, and we're going to jump into a few of those to help you to understand how to communicate clearly. The first one is specificity, and I want to stop right there and say that I'm proud of myself that I was able to clearly communicate and you were able to mutually understand that I said specificity. So specificity is one way to ensure that we have clear communication. It is okay to be specific. See, you don't want to make it more difficult for a person to understand what you are saying. You also only want to say what is absolutely necessary. Don't feel like you need to use big words when small words will do the job. You want to avoid using words or phrases that could mean something different to other people. If there are details that need to be communicated and need to be included in your message, do so. So you don't want to leave out anything. Don't make assumptions or don't estimate what your audience understands. Leaving details unmentioned can create uncertainty and also put stress on your audience. The second thing we want to talk about is define specific language. So using specialized language is a quick way to lose people that don't know your lingo. When someone who doesn't know the words that you're using to describe a topic, they can become lost in the discussion or in your communication. See, when we're talking about sermons or walking through the Bible or even talking about specific areas of our life, we're going to use terms or lingos that people may be unfamiliar with. And that's okay to use specific language, but we need to make sure that we take time and define those words. A quick definition of a word or a phrase will go a long way to ensure that we're speaking with clarity. There is a time for repetition. See, repetition in communication can be frustrating. No one wants to read or type an email for a second time. No one wants to read or hear the same thing over and over again. However, redundancy in communication is often the most powerful and effective tool to create clear communication around a message. See, the reason for redundancy is so it can be effective. Most of the time, people don't catch what you're saying the first time. They may miss important information or may not understand what you're trying to communicate. Repeating an information or repeating a message and using different words or different forms of communication will help your audience pick up on the details, the urgency, and what's most important in what you're communicating. Oftentimes, the most effective leaders are also the most redundant. There's also a time for feedback to ensure we're having clear mutual conversations and communication. Creating a time for feedback in your group can be an invaluable tool to help creative, effective communication. A feedback loop can be as simple as asking one of the sermon guide questions or challenging your growth group members with a tough topic and asking them to come back next week and discuss what they've learned. When communicating one-on-one with someone, even asking them to explain what they've said or what you've said will help clear up the communication. Another great tool for clear communication is follow-up. And I like to say that the follow-up is the secret weapon to have killer communication skills. One of the most underestimated tools in leadership is a follow-up. See, a follow-up is like when you loop back to a previous message or a topic in your group. Sometimes a follow-up even talks about something you may not have discussed originally, but it touches off of a previous topic. And see, the follow-up is going to allow you to see what people's growth has been. Follow-ups can also be progress around a project. Follow-ups can happen outside of a group meeting, maybe on a text, maybe over dinner or a coffee. Follow-ups are awesome to provide clarity and keep people informed on times of events. It's a time to cast vision. It's a time to make sure that you as a leader are being effective of getting our message and our vision across. And so clarity and communication can look different in your group. It can also cause frustration sometimes. But when you take time to hone your skills and in your communication, it's going to help offer clarity and effective communication within your group.